Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion here in the new month of February. It is February 6th, 2024, and it is That's Happening Tuesday. If you are joining us here live at 7:25 a.m., we just want to say thank you for tuning in, showing your love, showing your support here on News in Motion. If you're catching the replay, whether it be in the afternoon, the evening, or in the nighttime, we still want to thank you for your love and support, for tuning in to News in Motion, telling your friends about us, and just all around, just listening into the relevant commentary and call to action that we provide here over at News in Motion. We can be found on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or any audio and podcast platforms. If you're an audio podcast listener, and you want to be able to chat with us, please wait until you are stationary. We want you to be safe, keep your eyes on the road, unless you're in the grocery store doing whatever you're doing, listening in through audio. We do have a special guest with us today. We were going to bring her on momentarily. And of course, we have Miss Gail Deli as always. But if you're ready for That's Happening Tuesday, let us know in the chat. Be sure to grab your pen and paper, tell a friend, and we'll be right back after this brief intro.
Motion.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Y'all coming in here slow this morning. I'm like, okay, Facebook is probably tripping. I know we have our audio and podcast listeners. I can see those numbers over here. They rolling up in here. But on the video part of it, y'all coming in kind of slow. But I see you, Marion Jackson. I see you, Adrian. Kim Edmondson. What's up? Kim Edmondson. You get to meet Cassandra Cummings today. Yes, it is That's Happening Tuesday. I see my brother coming up in here. Good morning to my brother. Y'all just imagine he's in the middle of two sisters and two sisters. He's like in the middle. So y'all know it was rough for him growing up in our household. But good morning to you, Louis Pryor III. I see more people rolling up in here. So come on in here, y'all. Come on in here. Come on in here. Y'all, it is That's Happening Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, February the 6th. We are in February. It is That's Happening Tuesday. If you're tuning in on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or our audio podcast, and y'all, they are rolling up in here in the audio podcast. We can see the lever going up. So maybe a couple hundred now, tuning in to see what's happening there. So I want to jump in here because we got a lot to cover. Let people know, share. I only see one person from Facebook, which says a whole lot. So let's get this shared, y'all. Let's get this shared. So as we're doing that, y'all, remember, we're here today and tomorrow. And then we're not here Thursday for Town Hall Thursday, but we will be back the following Tuesday. So I just want to make sure I remind you all of that. So how was your weekend? Let us know that. Let us know how your weekend was doing. I see you, Stephanie Burbridge Hall. Good morning to you, sister. Come on in here, y'all. I have a guest with me this morning. And believe me, you're going to want to hear everything she has to say. I believe she's pretty brilliant when it comes to stocks and investments. So I want y'all to make sure you're ready for this. I told you I was bringing her. Y'all listen, I need y'all to tell everybody to come in here. Y'all, it is 4:30 her time. She's in Oakland, California, and she agreed to join us. So I need y'all to let everybody know. Now, the podcast and the audio is jamming over here, but let's get some live people. Kim Edmondson said, yes, let's bring it on. All right, listen, y'all, Trump, best fundraising days come around legal charges. I'm like, make it make sense, really. Y'all, 11.4 million. He raised in the week following his Georgia arrest for allegedly attempting to interfere with the 2020 election. Yeah, he raised $11.4 million and make it make sense. I see you, Regina. $4.4 million he raised days after he was indicted in Washington on federal charges related to election interference. Yeah, 11.4, now 4.4. But then he raised another 4.2 million, you all, on August 25th when he had his mugshot released following his arrest in Georgia. Make it make sense. Y'all, new online fundraising data showed how Donald Trump turned his legal woes into campaign cash. Ching ching, right? While Nikki Haley used GOP debates, Trump skipped to fuel her rise in her campaign funds. But y'all, 58.2 million online in the last 6 months of 2023. This man raised after 91 indictments. Make it make sense. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. What's up, Yvonne Gardner? Y'all also, and Cassandra's in California. Again, y'all, tell everybody get on here. It's up. She's up. Like up, dress, makeup, everything. And it's 4:30 her time. But y'all, 38 million people are under flood alerts in California with a forecast of up to 14 inches of rain. So y'all, we need to start praying for them. What's up, Rosanna? The high risk for flash floods continues for California after the UCLA area clocked nearly 10 inches of rain, and a month's worth of rain fell in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday. So that's happening. I'm sure you're seeing some of the pictures. I know I said this, and I'm rushing through this news because I got to bring my girl on. I know I said this. Yeah, Kim Edmondson, please make it make sense. And I mean it. Now I'm gonna support my sister and everything. And I'm glad she came clean and all that stuff. But come on, Fani Willis. Why? The DA who's charged in the trumped in the Georgia subpoena has been subpoenaed by House GOP by who? Ohio's Representative Jim Jordan. Dude, take a seat. We still waiting for you to testify here at The Ohio State University for your dirty stuff that you've done here. And then you won't even show up for your own subpoena. So sit down. Finally, don't go. Really. So y'all, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, he's in all kinds of trouble at Ohio State. Does he even come back to Ohio? Because he knows we're looking for him. Has subpoenaed District Attorney Fani Willis of Fulton County, Georgia, demanding documents from her office following allegations that Fani Willis fired a whistleblower who tried to stop a top campaign aide from misusing federal funds. Just a lot of shenanigans going on. No, can you subpoena old dude and make sure he can't run for president? Something. Seriously. All right, y'all. I want to get to this morning's conversation. Kenny Stanley, good morning to you. We're praying for your wife. I see you, Latrice Jones. What's up, Deborah Johnson? Yeah, you're right, Stephanie. Seriously, he needs to take a seat. He needs to take 1,000 seats. I'm like, I don't get it. So y'all heard me last week talking about my love. It all started, and I'm gonna give y'all the backstory real quick. It all started when Kim Edmondson joined us here on News in Motion, and she and I had a conversation. Then I went trailing with her to see these guys from Earn Your Leisure at a high school, and I started really talking about investment. And I told all of you out loud that it's kind of, you can be afraid of all this financial stuff. And I'm not a numbers person at all. I'm a storyteller. I write books. I have 15 of them. Y'all, this book is amazing. I can't wait till y'all see it in a couple of weeks. Inspire, Call to Action. That's probably my baby book right there. That's book number 15. So it's coming out. And I told y'all that I was just afraid of numbers, like it doesn't make sense. But I have since learned, thanks to Kim Edmondson launching me into this, that we better know these numbers and get an understanding. So from that, Kim was telling me about investment and budget and paying your debt. And I went through all of that. And many of us here on News in Motion followed that as well. And we all became debt-free. I don't know if we all lasted debt-free, but we all became debt-free. So then after that, I started scrolling and I kept coming across some Instagram posts. And then the PR person that I know, Daniel Gibson, said, hey, I got somebody I want you to meet, Cassandra Cummings. So I met Cassandra Cummings. She did the podcast with me February last year. So it's about the same time. And then she has this program called Stocks and Stilettos. And then she's talking about going to Cabo. They went, I didn't, and just all kinds of stuff. And so I got into this option trading, y'all. Now, listen, we all have to have a love for something other than what we do. Now, I'm not great at it. I'm emotional with it. So I need to get some stuff I need to get some stuff in sync. But y'all, I'm starting to connect dots. Like, what? So as y'all know, on Friday, the jobs report came out. And the job report came out that 353,000 new jobs. And I'm like, hey, yeah, that sounds amazing. But then when you go to Wall Street, they ain't happy about it. And I'm like, why aren't y'all happy about it? Like, isn't this a great thing? So in this Friday's rundown, I'm going to send y'all this link. It's 42 pages. I want y'all to read this. See, we just hear about the jobs piece, right? So, but there's so much more to this. Retail trade, social assistance, manufacturing, government information, mining, query, average hourly earnings, average work week for employees. Y'all, this thing is, this job report is detailed. And I'm sitting there going, wow, isn't it interesting? See, if you're not nosy like me, you're not going to get into all of this. But I'm getting ready to teach all of us how to connect this dot. So before I bring her in here, I asked you, and if y'all saw my notes, you probably already see the answer. But I asked y'all last week to come in here Tuesday with what does FOMC stands for. Now, the first person who puts it in the chat, don't worry, podcast people, I'm coming to you in a moment. The first people to put in the chat what FOMC stands for, you get some of the signature gear. You get the t-shirt from the signature gear of the vote. Now, you understand this. Isaiah has to see it on our side because you're coming in from LinkedIn, from YouTube, and from Facebook. So we know who comes in first from our side of the chat. Podcast people, audio people, the first email we receive from you all, you will get the signature. And you have to be the right answer. Y'all don't Google it. Either you know it or you don't. Dr. Antoinette says, so Miss Willis' consensual liaison with another woman's husband is worthy of more noise. Well, there's that. Hello, somebody. Yep, let's pull that out here. So y'all, along with that, I was telling you all how last week all these stocks were hitting in tech, and it was supposed to be a great week. But then we were all waiting for Mr. Powell to come out and tell us if they're cutting interest rates or not. So all of these things connect. So I want us to pay attention. So Isaiah, bring Cassandra in here because I got questions. Good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Y'all, she's where the storm is, so she's going in and out. So we're gonna make it work. I have a lot of questions. First of all, thank you for all that you do with stocks and stilettos, y'all. This is the woman behind, Kim Edmondson is on one side with the investment, but Cassandra's on the other side with options. So y'all, either I'm going into something new or something because I am now learning everything there is to know about numbers. I'm even paying attention to the news differently. So Cassandra, you zoned in on that with us in your class, Stocks and Stilettos, BAD 15. I think I was in 15. And that's Build a Bag. So tell us why news is important when we're talking about from government to jobs to rate cuts to housing. Why is that important when it comes to these numbers and stocks and investments and options? First of all, good morning.
Good morning. Yes. So, thanks for having me, first of all. Thank you so much for having me here today. So the reason why news basically moves the markets is because Wall Street is really trying to ascertain something based off of that information. And so either that information is going to provide some sense of certainty or it's going to provide a sense of uncertainty. And Wall Street does not like uncertainty. So when there is uncertainty in the market or uncertainty based off of a news report or an announcement, the market reacts negatively. And when there is certainty or the market or there's a news report that sort of affirms what Wall Street expected, then the stock market will react positively. So that's why news is that's why news is important.
Okay, so yesterday, and I pulled this from the alerts because I get alerts from everywhere as a journalist. It says U.S. stock markets closed lower. S&P 500 minus 0.3%, Dow down 0.7%, and NASDAQ down 0.2%. And then it goes on to say S&P 500 retreats from high record. U.S. 10-year Treasury yield rises 4.2%. So make that make sense. How could it be lower, but at the same time, the Treasury yield rises to 4.2%? Make it make sense for us.
So anytime we have the Treasury yield increasing, that means that there is a pullback in the market. And basically, the Treasury yield is what you could basically put your money in to get a guaranteed return. And so when we see that Treasury yield is inching up closer and closer towards 4.5, it is actually more advantageous for us, for a shareholder, to invest in the treasuries and get a guaranteed return as opposed to risking their funds inside of the stock market. Wouldn't you much rather get a guaranteed rate of return as
Yeah.
opposed to putting your money at risk? So when we see that treasury yield start inching up closer and closer towards 4.5, the market reacts negatively, because they know that people would much rather shift their money away from the stock market and put it in government securities such as treasury bonds, treasury notes, and things of that nature, treasury bills. Yes.
So Kim Edmondson saying Treasury equals bonds.
So there's bonds, bills, and notes. And so each of them carry a different duration. So typically bills are shorter term, less than a year.
Okay.
Then you have notes that are up to about 10 years. And then you have bonds, which are typically go out as far as 30 years.
Okay. Why is it? And thank you for that.
Yeah.
So just listening to you, I see why. And I was one of those individual people. You hear that or read that, you're like, oh, it doesn't make sense, so I'm out. But there's an importance, what I've learned, and even reading your book. Y'all, here's her book. We'll put the link in here in a moment. But I've learned that we need to have an understanding, and we need to not be afraid of it. And to some degree, we need to go ahead and jump in, whether it's option trading, investments, dividends, all of that, because it all connects even to this election year that's coming. We're already in the middle with primaries, and the general election will be in November. But Black and brown people, I'm going to talk about African American people, we run from this. Do you know why that is? Is it fear-based? Is it a lack of funds, a lack of understanding? Do you have a pulse on this at all?
It's absolutely rooted in fear. It's absolutely rooted in fear. It's the fear of the unknown. And so if you're not exposed to that as, a young adult or a person in a household where those conversations are being held, when you get to the point where this information becomes pertinent as an adult and as someone who is a productive member of society, you are prone to sort of shy away from that information. But it is very much fear-based. It is definitely a lack of exposure. And I think that's why we run away from it. And also, we don't have people like you and I being able to really explain these concepts in a way that is digestible for, African Americans. We much rather talk about the Grammys and, the Nicki Minaj and Meg Thee Stallion beef, as opposed to talking about how our interest rates going to impact our, spending power.
I totally agree with that. Oh, yes. And wait a minute, Cassandra, you'll be proud of me. Like, I was talking to some friends of mine the other day, and I said, well, this right here, that's a double bottom. This right here, that's a couple of handle. Because I'm learning the charts. I'm learning how to chart. And at first it was like fearful and very frustrating, you all. I want y'all to hear this. I was like, I'm done with this. Forget this. I'm out of my league. But then there's something that you see, and it's like, wait a minute, this connects to my everyday living. This connects to the next person in office. This is connecting to jobs. And then this could be my bread and butter if we would just pay attention and really come out of it. But I so agree with that, because as much as we are scrolling, talking about who's dating who or who's breaking up with whom, if we would spend just as that much time to understanding, well, what is charting? What are indicators? What are options? What are dividends? How soon can this compound interest come together, and what's the bottom line? Yeah, I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning. So I'm all the way in on that. Latrice Jones says, where would someone go to research, learn about Treasury bonds?
Yeah, they can go to treasury.gov, G-O-V.
Treasury.gov, Latrice. Treasury.gov. So I got some questions. You got time? Look, I'm up at 4 something.
Now.
What is and you have a pause, and I thought about your group yesterday, and I'm sitting there like, man, this girl's brilliant. How you were able to look at something and say, this is running, this isn't doing it good, this is channeling, this isn't this. And so what's your current assessment of the overall market conditions, and is there any significant trends or patterns you are observing currently?
Well, I mean, I think with the current market conditions, we are getting ready to move into a presidential election season. We've got primaries underway. And so the market is reacting to what is going on as we lead up to the big election day in November. And so when we're looking at different charts and patterns and market trends, we're watching what's really happening with interest rates. And so when we have FOMC coming out, and we have these federal people basically speaking about their assessment of the market, their assessment of inflation, their assessment of pricing, they're really trying to figure out ways in which to really have the everyday person be able to afford gas, food, the essentials, if you will. So when we're looking at market trends, we're looking to see what's happening with the everyday person who is pretty much middle class. And so we're looking at the charts, we're looking to see how they're going to react to be able to keep the everyday person on board with being able just to afford to live.
Wow. So, okay. So gas prices, or milk or bread.
Yeah.
And even when Powell came out to give the announcement at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, and he did not cut the rates.
Yeah.
The market just went red.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. And what does that have to do with the everyday person? Because there's still food insecurity. There's still homelessness. There's still, you name it, where people can't even make ends meet. But Wall Street went ballistic. Like, you didn't cut it, we're done. Market kind of like just went all red. Can you explain that and make it make sense for those of us to get an understanding that we need to understand this? Because I believe we got to follow the money when it comes to these elections.
Absolutely. Follow the money is key. And so what happens when Chairman Powell comes out and speaks about his inability to really speak on whether or not they're going to cut rates or when they expect to cut rates, again, that leaves uncertainty in the market. So Wall Street, they want to know when he's cutting rates and how much he's going to cut rates by. And when he does not provide that information, again, Wall Street will react negatively. And so they want to know if they wanted to know if he was going to cut rates in March. He could not give a definitive answer. He just said that there is growing confidence that the market is sort of snapping into shape based off of last year's rate hikes. And again, because he cannot give a definitive answer, Wall Street does not like to be in the dark about what interest rates are going to do. Wall Street is looking for a rate cut because, again, that would allow prices to come down a little bit, things to get less expensive for the everyday consumer. And so because he's not going to really move interest rates anytime soon, it's making it very difficult for Wall Street to move accordingly.
Wow, that's too much control. And he comes out with such a straight face. I'm like, he's not giving an indication of anything.
Right. He's got his
I
poker face on. He's got his poker face on.
poker face. He's playing. He's playing. I'm like, what is happening? Kim Edmondson says, right, Gail, follow the money. When we don't follow, we get left behind. And then Rosanna Bivens is stating, there was a class at East High School in Columbus, Ohio, 1986 called Economic Business Law. And I started trading then and now. I don't know if they still have it. It was a new class being taught that year. So the question, should this start in not elementary, in high school, middle school, high school? Because if they're out there in line buying game stuff and Jordans or whatever, should they not be learning how to trade? Because that money, they can turn that I guess tennis shoes are more than $100 into $500 or $600, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they don't want you to know this because then you would be empowered and you would necessarily fit into, systemic norms, if you will. So if you know how to go to the stock market to essentially print money and order cash, would you actually go and try to, work in their corporate environments or become a part of, societal norms that we have in place now?
Can we please go there, please? Because I'm already seeing where there's an app, y'all, called Thinkorswim, where you can do trading. And I'm already starting to see they're trying to raise the initial investment amount. And I think it's because too many of us are getting in there. What are your thoughts on that? And I keep telling this audience, and again, our podcast and audio listener, I see Susan Church is in here, Tracy Burrs is in here. I see others that are coming in here too. I see evangelist Jennifer Milton's coming in. I see different people coming in. Y'all, if y'all driving, please keep your eyes on the road, please. But so often, again, the fear. I'm not a numbers person. I know I need to stop saying that. But for me, I'm really not a numbers person. But there's something different about this than just numbers. And so I'm more interested in it. I'm now telling my children about it. We're having conversation around it. We're connecting the dots around it. And it's like, this to me is more important than Donald Trump's 91 convictions, although that's important too, because I'm not voting for him. But this is more important to me. This is more important to me than trying to understand Medicare and Medicaid. And I have a bedridden mother who's 88 years old. But if I get this under control, to some degree, I believe this can solve everything else or begin to do that. And I think our community's missing a prime opportunity to be more about the numbers and more about dividends, compound interest, trading, investment, and so forth. Because y'all, on the side note, y'all, this option trading is not for the weak, but it is fun as I don't know what. So speak to that. How can we encourage our community to be more interested in what's happening? And before you do that, Latrice Jones says financial literacy is currently being taught in high school. And Latrice, come back and tell us what type in the district you're in. And then Kim Edmondson says every time we get in the game, they change the rules. Now, and really, Cassandra, you and Kim, I want y'all to connect, so I'll figure out how to get the two of you connected. So I know I just said a whole lot, but that's what we do. Talk to us, please.
So there's a couple of things. Financial literacy being taught in the schools is very important. But I think another piece of that is that we as parents and we as, the first teachers of our children, we have to equip ourselves with this information so that we can then impart that onto our children. I think at the end of the day, we expect our school systems to do the heavy lifting, and we really need to we send our kids to school to learn, but we shouldn't put the entire onus of teaching our children and preparing our children for adulthood on the school system. And I think that traditionally we have, kind of kowtowed to, the public school system.
Yeah.
And we need to do a much better job of, understanding that we are our children's first teachers and that we need to equip ourselves so that we can pass this knowledge down. I think, being able to talk to people like you, like You're very influential. And so when people see that you're excited about this information and that you can, in fact, absorb this information, it makes them want to go out and also learn about it. So we need people like you, Gail, to really, speak the gospel, speak the financial gospel of, understanding numbers, understanding how economics work at a high level and even on a political front.
Yeah.
So being able to really have conversations and speak the language in such a way that makes it palatable for African Americans. We speak
Hmm.
differently. So when we hear Jerome Powell speaking, how do we then translate that to
Right.
our community? And I
Right.
think that that's what's good about the Stocks and Stiletto Society, Build a Bag, all of the programs that I put together is that we basically take that information and we translate that in such a way that our people can then best understand.
Yeah, so I want to get into some of that in the time we have. So, talk investment strategies, because yes, and y'all, she's make sure she gives y'all all the information about her programs that are happening now and coming up, so that you can um, get involved. I'm telling y'all, this is a game. It's a game changer. Just believe me, it's a game changer. So, what's your preferred investment style? Is that value investing, growth investing, trading, options, and how has it evolved over time? Um, let's encourage the people. Let's encourage the people.
I mean, I think you have to have, a number of feathers in your cap, and I think that you have to be nimble because you have to move according to the economy. So, depending on what the economy is doing, you've got to be able to adjust and modify your investment strategies. I'm about, I have a two-pronged approach to that. I have a long-term strategy and I have a short term strategy. My long term strategy is buy and hold with blue chip companies and companies that pay dividends. And then my short term strategy is, of course, being able to basically order cash from the stock market in the form of trading options. And so I think you just have to have, a lot of different tools in your toolkit.
One thing that you taught me, you taught a lot. One thing you taught me was to have a trading plan.
Yes.
So y'all, it looked real good on paper. Like I wrote it all out into December that I'm gonna do this. I'm only gonna trade between 9:45 and 11:15. That blew out the window come January 3rd. But now I'm trying to get back into it and not trading on emotions or anything like that, and really study the indicators. So how closely, Cassandra, do you follow economic indicators such as the job market data, or how they influence your investment decisions? Or do you have this gut feeling that you follow?
I think it's a combination. Anytime we see economic reports appear on the calendar, there are some that are ranked based off of high priority on down to less priority. And so the higher priority economic data reports that come out, especially when we have like Jerome Powell, Chairman Powell come out and speak, those we really kind of wait to hear from him. But there are some economic reports that won't necessarily move the markets, and we don't have to necessarily pay as much attention to those. We have the weekly jobs report that comes out once a week. We have, other consumer price index reports, producer price index reports. So we have a number of different economic reports that we want to be in tune to see how inflation is doing, how monetary policy is working. And based off of what happens in those reports can dictate how you should move with your money. So when we see that inflation is increasing, we may want to accelerate our investment strategy because we need money faster, right? When
Right.
we see there's a pullback in the market, when interest rates get cut and things like that, we may not need to have as an aggressive strategy because prices have come down and now we have much more purchasing power. So you have to be nimble. based off what's going on in the economy.
You said something. You said to notice when the market pulls back. Can you explain that a little bit more for those who's wondering, like, what does that mean when you say pull back? And by the way, y'all, she's going to give y'all all her information at the end so that you can sign up, register with that. But what is a pullback?
So when we have a pullback, that means that Wall Street basically declines, right? So we hear when the Dow Jones drops 200 points, that's a pullback. When we hear that we are moving into recessionary territory, that's a pullback. The market is basically PO'd.
Okay. Okay. So personal finance, because people may say, well, I don't have any money to invest, which I think that's just a bold-faced lie. If you have money to go to the hair salon, to the nail salon, pedicure, manicure, buy your t-shirt, backpack, whatever, you can invest. You can start by saving. So what advice do you have for individuals looking to plan their personal finances and investments for the long term and for the short term? How do they begin to build that up?
First of all, investing is a necessary evil. You just are not going to be able to outsave these interest rates and inflation. You have to put your money to work. And you can only be at one place at one time, but you have money that you can spread out that basically can work for you. So think about each dollar as you would an employee. What is this dollar doing for me? Is it bringing me money, or am I basically wasting it?
Wow.
And so I think when we change our programming around money and how money should work for us, we tend to do a better job at investing. I think when you take a look at someone who says, I don't have money to invest, you have to basically take a look at their budget, right? You got to look at their spending plan. I like to call it a spending plan. Because when we think about budget, we think about something that's restrictive. I'm subtracting, I'm cutting back. But when I think about spending plan, I'm basically telling my money where to go.
Oh, I like that.
So when we have that in place, then I'm telling my money that I need to take care of my future self. That's why I need to invest. I'm telling my money I need to have my money intact for housing. I need to have my money intact for my children's education. I need to have my money intact. So all of these different things are what you call channels in which your money is flowing through. And
Wow.
so, yes, absolutely. Every dollar should have a job. And so when you think about it in that respect, then you can see, do you want an employee that's wasting money, or do you want an employee that's making money for you?
I
And
love
that's
that
going to
analogy.
change your perception of how you're spending your money.
I love this analogy. I use something similar. Don't laugh at me, Cassandra. I use something similar when I'm learning this whole trading thing, and I'm still a novice, believe me. That I have to tell myself, okay, I just lost a T-shirt. Like I just lost 18. Like I have to, so I don't get emotional, get upset. It's like, oh, that was just a hamburger. Like so I'm not like too mad about it. So it's like a mind game that we're playing here. So here. This is notes from your book. So like when I first bought the book, like I wrote down stocks, what are trade options? And then I wrote down what it is. It's a contract. It's a contract of 100 shares. I feel like I know what I'm doing now. And then in the money and out the money. So that's ITM or OTM. And yeah, when you're out the money, it's not fun. And then how to shop for contracts. And then I even have like all your quizzes on here too. Like and then the candlesticks. I have all of these different notes. Yeah. The double bottom base, and then when it's flipped up, head and shoulders, and all of that. But it's fun because it's like, okay, this is about the legacy that I'm leaving my children, hopefully. She meant to say great analogy. All right, Kim Edmondson, autocorrect. I know. But your book is just dead on it. So even when we're talking this, I want everyone to know, pick up a book and read it or listen to audio, because it's something that we need to learn. And it's not something you're going to learn overnight. not going to learn it overnight. So in education, this is my last question. I want you to share with everybody about your programs that you have. How do you stay informed about market trends, and what resources or platforms do you recommend? Because individuals, I believe, if they're interested, they'll start wanting to educate themselves. But I will also say this to everyone: don't do it alone, which means you're going to have to invest in a program, and know that it's an investment. Just like I've been telling us, y'all, invest in Black owned businesses, invest in women owned businesses, invest not just with people who have products, but people who are sharing their intellectual property with you. It makes a difference, and we need to be more empowered. And Latrice, I don't know if you're still on here, if you've already gone to work, but they put stuff in between books because they don't think we're going to pick it up and read it from cover to cover. But let's start reading, because this is our empowerment. So please, we put the link of her book in there. Make sure you grab a copy. Maybe we can do a book club around the book or something. But also, she has different programs that I want you, Cassandra, to share with everyone. And y'all, we'll have her back. I know this is always just a short time. I don't know if we're going to get her back if she's in California, because it's early. Listen, she travels, so maybe she'll end up on the East Coast and can join us. Or maybe she'll just get back up at 4 o'clock. But tell us what you have going on, because I am seriously, my family think I've lost my mind. They're like, all you do is talk about options. And I have my phone, they're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting ready to trade this. I'm paying attention to it. I still need to learn trail stops, but go ahead and share with us what you have. And then everyone, I'll come back with the inspirational message.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting. Anytime you're learning something that is going to be of benefit, of great benefit to you, it definitely is exciting. And you'll start to look at the world differently. You start to look at it from a different perspective. And that's really what I want people to do when they come into my ecosystem, is that I want them to be excited about money. I want them to be excited about the possibilities of changing their financial trajectory based off of them coming into my ecosystem. So, where I keep in tune with the news is CNBC. I think it has more of a straight chaser type of news reporting. They don't spend a lot of time on political stuff, but they do infuse that because the political landscape affects the economic landscape. And so I think that's why we have to be in tune to what's going on politically. I think as far as like different programs that I offer, we have free programs. We have the Socks and Stiletto Society for women. We make it a space in which women can come in and really learn about money, learn about the economy, because women move differently with money. Women have a different relationship with money because we're not necessarily providers and protectors. We're more nurturers. We're more, collaborative. Men are traditionally much more competitive. And so we have a different relationship even when it comes to money. So I have the Stock Success Circle. That's really stocks 101, learning how to put together portfolios for long-term investing, retirement, because at some point we've got to, stop working either by force or by choice. So how do we keep, food on the table? How do we finance that once that decision has to be made? And then I have Build a Bag, which is options trading for beginning investors. And that's really introducing them to a whole nother aspect of investing in the stock market and being able to essentially order cash on demand.
And listen, y'all, it's not a quick fix. And believe me, you get frustrated and you're like, okay, let me take the emotions out of it. And then the other thing that Cassandra has taught, and I've said this publicly many times, you cannot get greedy with it. Take the $20 and run. And you may think that's not a lot, but it builds up. Just think $20 every day for 5 days a week. Like, take it and run. Take it and run.
Yeah, just to add to that too, because we've been taught about compound interest, right? We know how powerful compounding is. And I was just having this conversation last night. But we've been taught that compounding traditionally takes a long time. But when you trade options, we're basically hyper compounding. We're compounding at a much faster rate. So we're not letting our money marinate over 10, 15, 20 years. We're basically flipping money in a matter of minutes to just a couple of days. We can still get that same return in a much shorter period of time. And we need that because things are accelerating at a much faster rate, but our salaries, our bonuses, our increases at work are not keeping pace with the way in which the speed of money is moving. And money likes speed, money loves speed. So why aren't we being able to extract money from the market that much faster?
Wow, that's a whole lot. And yeah, money like speed too, because one moment you can be up on that stock market, and if you turn your head for 5 seconds, it will go the other way.
Well,
And it's like, what?
real fast, real fast.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for joining us here on News in Motion. I'm getting all kinds of comments. I don't know how they're able to do this on the audio podcast side, because I think many of them are driving to work. And then we'll get about 1,000 downloads of those who will listen throughout the day. So hopefully people will start reaching out to you. How can they contact you if they have any questions? I want to make sure we put this in the chat as well.
You know, I'm on Facebook at Stocks and Stilettos, and I'm also on Instagram at Stocks and Stilettos. It's probably the best places to reach me.
Okay, so y'all go Instagram or Facebook, and we'll make sure we'll put it in the chat after the show as well. And then check out Lori Wallace. Good morning, girl. She said great information. Thank you. And they're normally not this quiet on the chat, but I think they were probably taking notes. So this has been great. Thank you for waking up this early to hang out with me and us at News in Motion. We appreciate you, and y'all check her out. Please, please, please buy the book if that's where you want to start. Let me see. Kim says that's why you need a short and long-term strategy. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. And y'all just don't be afraid of it. Just jump in and start learning seriously. Again, y'all, it's an investment. It's an investment. You're investing your time, you're investing money, you're investing your patience, you're investing your knowledge, your resource, you're investing. So y'all, you want to learn from this, invest in this. That's where I'm going to tell you to start. Judy, good morning, girlfriend. You up in the code area. She says, very informative and user-friendly. Great. And then Marion Jackson said, thanks for this information. I've learned so much this morning. So there you have it. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's what we do here at News in Motion. We want to empower people. So y'all, I got the inspirational message again, Cassandra. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go back to sleep now. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said the market's going to open here in a soon. So.
Oh, yes, you're not going back to sleep. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right, y'all, the inspirational message today. I'm sure many of you have already heard that King Charles was diagnosed with cancer per Buckingham Palace. So we want to pray for him and his family and everything that's going on there. But also in this inspirational message, and I wanted to use him this morning to share this. Y'all, don't wait. If there's something you want to do, if there's something that you dream for, if there's something that you long for, don't wait until you get everything in order. Just do it. So after hearing Cassandra, if you're like, you know what, I'm interested in this, go for it. Be interested, do something, start somewhere. Again, buy the book. This is a good book. Buy the book, buy the book. The links are in the chat there. Buy the book. Thank you, Kim Edmondson. She said, great segment. Buy the book, seriously. And I see that many of you were getting knocked out of Facebook. I see some people saying I'm missing it. Again, check out the replay, but y'all go to YouTube, youtube.com/Gail Dudley, subscribe and watch News in Motion from there. But y'all, this book, buy this book. Just to give you a indicator of what's happening on the inside. She talks about right mind, money ready, little bank, big bank, credit card, invest, property pathway, rock your retirement, dividend income, real estate, and aspiring accredited investors. There's so much in these pages. So make sure you buy this book. But again, y'all, and I'm using King Charles. And again, we want to pray for him and his family and everything that could be going on. But just think, he waited. He waited. If y'all follow The Crown at all, and I always Google to see how true it is to the story. He thought that when he was getting ready to marry Camilla, that his mom was going to announce that she was going to come off the throne and he was going to go on. But then she didn't do that. So he waited. But what else could he have done with his life? His whole life was to be king. So he dreamt that, he thought of that, everything. And hopefully through these treatments, he will still be able to do this job successfully. But whatever it is that you have on your mind, whatever it is that you are dreaming about doing, do it. I had been, and Kim Edmondson remind me, I think it's been 2 years. I think those of us who did the debt-free April, I think it was 2021 maybe, or 2022. And so I started learning. I started saying, I'm not going to be afraid of this whole money thing or math thing. And when Kim would say, hey, this is happening, hey, let's go. Let me go see what they're talking about. And then we had conversation about it. And then I started reading more. I started following Cassandra on Instagram. It's actually after I met her through Daniel Gibson. And from that, more grew. So the options, the love. Yeah, I really have a love for this thing. It's really weird. But I'm all into it. And now connecting it as a journalist, connecting the dots to Chairman Powell, to the jobs report, to different legislation that's happening in the House or in the Senate, what's happening in this presidential election. Y'all follow the money. Is all connected. It is all connected. Kim Edmondson said 2021. So y'all, this time, it takes time, but just do it. So I want you all to consider this week. Again, we're not here Thursday, but we're here on Wednesday. We'll be back next Thursday for Town Hall. But there's something I got to do this Thursday. But anyway, tomorrow, get people and we're going to talk about how to look at these different bills that are on the floor. I'm going to break that down for you. So you're going to get an educational moment. And I realize when we do education, even like today, although the podcast was jumping with people today, the live views are very few. We got to stop running away from education, y'all. And I'll tell y'all tomorrow what's going to happen. How many people actually did the downloads and replay. But y'all, it makes a difference. Regina, you are welcome. You are welcome. She said, thanks, Gail. My book is on the way. You didn't order the book that fast while we're on here. I'm glad you did. Listen, we're here at News in Motion. Yeah, I can give y'all headline news all day long, but it's more than that. We want to educate you. We want to share things with you. Y'all, the research I do to bring you all information, and I make sure I bring you the best people. Y'all, she woke up for us. I don't know. She probably got about 3:30, 3:45, because it's 8:17 here. It is 5:15 where she is. Just imagine that. A woman with a brilliant mind came on here to share this information with us. Y'all, that should be applauded. That's a standing ovation right there. When I see and dream of where News in Motion can go and what we can do, it's all about educating those who choose to listen and follow. The other thing that I'm learning, two people can make a difference, and it's worth it. And still, she joined us this morning, regardless of how many. But y'all, don't wait. Whatever that business is you want to launch, don't wait, launch it. Whatever, if you want to go back to school, go back to school. Y'all know I say often, I should have been an attorney. I really should have been. But I knew I could have never passed that bar. And I said it because I'm not a test taker. But I found another way to do what I love through this right here. And here's the other thing. You can do more than one thing. So if you want to do investments or option trading, if you want to get into the groups of stocks and stilettos or the society, I forgot all the different names she shared with us, do it. If you want to write a book, write the book. So what? There's 2 million new titles on the shelf. So what? Maybe yours is the book that's going to go viral and do some amazing things. If you want to be a coach, go be a coach. If you want to travel the world, go travel the world. If you want to be a blogger, go be a blogger. If you want to be a fitness trainer, go be a fitness trainer. Stop waiting until you get everything lined up. Just do it. If you want to buy a home, start buying a home. I know the market is kind of weird right now, but go ahead and start designing what that looks like. If you want to be an interior designer, be that interior designer. Y'all stop waiting. Stop waiting. I don't know what the news was like. And by the way, they said that it's not prostate cancer, but was discovered during his recent treatment for an enlarged prostate. It says the type of cancer has not been confirmed, but according to the palace statement, the king began regular treatment on Monday. So he began that on yesterday. He is positive, and yes, y'all, Harry is on his way to go see his father. And then he has postponed his public engagements and is expected other senior royals will help standing in. So I wanted to give y'all all that news from that. But I can't imagine what that was like to hear that. It rocks people who are really young. It rocks people of all walks of life. And he hasn't even been king for a year yet. And he has this to deal with. And his wife has this to deal with. And his children has this to deal with. And I just thought about that. I said, wow, he waited all his life to be king. And not even a year in, this happened. What have you been waiting all your life to do? What is that thing? What is it? Lori says, don't live in a box. Do what your purpose to do. Do it. Do it, y'all. Do it. All right, y'all. Until tomorrow again, education tomorrow too. I am your host, Gail Dudley. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Make sure you share this. Everyone needs to see this. Tell people, maybe this is a gift. That's an idea. We're talking about birthday. Valentine's Day is coming up next week. Birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, weddings, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whenever. Instead of going to buy a gift for that, being like socks, shoes, all that, invest for somebody. Start an investment club for somebody. Buy this book for somebody. Buy them an entry into learning options. Y'all, we got to start getting different gifts in here. I told y'all to invest in art. Y'all see it all in my house now. Invest in some art, y'all. Invest in Black-owned business, y'all. Stop sleeping on each other. All right, y'all. Y'all know what I say, everyone. Stay well. And remember to make some bold moves. We're out.
News in motion.